This very well could be the most important video that I have ever done on this episode of Major Money Matters. Hey guys, welcome to Major Money Matters. My name is Major. If this is your first time to the channel, I do invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. And I wanted to do this video because this is extremely important. Okay, so I'm traveling right now. I'm doing this video from my hotel room in Washington, D.C. up here talking to some congressmen about different things with home ownership, Black home ownership, veteran home ownership, different things about advocacy, trigger leads, some topics that we're covering. But something very, very significant happened right before I started traveling. And I'll tell you the story about how this came to be and what you need to do about it, because it's one of those things, honestly, we go through life and there are some things that are not, we know that it exists, but we really don't, it's not at our doorstep until it's our family. We don't know about it until it affects us permanently, okay? Or don't acknowledge it until it affects us directly, okay? Kind of like cancer. Cancer is something that we know is out there, but it's at your doorstep when it's your family member or even you diagnosed with cancer, or kidnapping or something like that. You know it's out there, abductions happen, tragedies happen, but it's not until it's at your doorstep that it becomes a reality. So I want to talk about what actually happened to one of my clients, all right? So, and this is going to serve as a warning for all of you who are buying houses. And if you're buying a house right now, I want you to heed my words very clearly, because this is starting to be more and more of an issue, and thieves are more and more conniving every single day. So I had a friend call me up. We were in the Navy together. Okay. By the way, this guy is not a first-time home buyer. He has 14 properties. Okay. And because of the way he structures his finances, the way he structures his property, he was having trouble getting financed through a normal bank. Okay. So one of the things that I do is I am a VA home loan expert. If you want to throw that around, I've done enough of them that I'm very, very good at them. My team is very good at them. The other thing we're very good at is creative financing and figuring out how to finance things to certain outlets where other people cannot get the financing done you can't get the financing done through a main bank or something like that. So he calls me up. He says, "Hey, Major, buying a house in Wisconsin. It's a second home for me and my family, a vacation home on a lake. The bank that we're working with, we're having trouble getting financed. Can you help me?" And I said, absolutely. He told me a little bit about his situation. Really, might be kind of difficult for the average bank, but we got it done. I think we got it done in like 2 weeks or something like that. Not a big deal. So we open escrow, we go through escrow, and there are some, if it's one of those things, like if you're looking back, you're like, that was weird. How did that happen? So we go through escrow, and to make a long story short, he ends up wiring funds to a fraudulent account because he got wiring instructions that he believed were authentic. Okay, and I'll tell you some things that happened throughout the process. But he believed this account or these wiring instructions were authentic, and he wired funds to a fraudulent account, not just $10,000. This was $215,000. Now, my friend happens to be what many of us would consider wealthy. Okay, like I said, this is 14th property. He's done this before. He was not a first-time home buyer. This is not something that was new to him. Okay, however, in his haste, he wired funds to a fraudulent account because he did not verify the wiring instructions with the title company. He had just talked to the title company about 15 minutes earlier, so he thought they were just sending him the wiring instructions. So what were some indicators throughout the process? Now, where did this individual infiltrate his email from? We still, to this moment, do not know. We don't know how they know that he entered escrow. We do know that throughout the escrow process, which was, I'd say, about 21 days or something like that, throughout the escrow process, he was never actually communicating with the actual title company. He was communicating with a person who had created a fraudulent email with the escrow officer's name. And the only way you would know that it was a different email than the escrow officer's name is if you clicked on the email or the name in the line of the email or in the address line. The only way you would know is if you actually clicked there and looked at the email address. They had created a fraudulent email address and they still had the escrow officer's name in there. So if I was talking to him and I said, hey, let's call her Pam. Pam at Title said X, Y, and Z. He would think that he's emailing Pam at Title, but throughout this process, he was never emailing Pam at Title. He also did not verify wiring instructions, as I said previously. When you get wiring instructions, okay, wiring instructions will never come from me and my team. Never. We have the wiring instructions. We're just not sending them to you. When you wire funds, you don't wire them to the lender. Those are funds that you wire between you and the title company. The other thing is those wiring instructions are always sent securely to you. They're always sent through some secure link. All right. They're not just emailed over to you. So what should you be doing to protect yourself? Because these scams are getting more and more prevalent. Number one, if possible, I want you to always use a cashier's check instead of wiring funds. Okay. You go to your bank, get a cashier's check, take it to the title company, drop it off. You're closing on your home, you get the cash to close amount from the lender or from the title company. You go to the bank, get a cashier's check, and then take it to the title company. Okay, that is the easiest, simplest, cleanest way to do this. If that is not feasible, if you're buying at a distance or it's just inconvenient for you, make sure you get the wiring instructions directly from the title company. You get those directly from the title company and you wire the funds directly to those wiring instructions. Okay. The other thing you want to do is sometimes you want to call the title company and verify, like, hey, you are this person. You are at this title company. Your email address is this. Okay. Because like I said, in my friend's situation, he was communicating with another individual that had created a false email. And the only way we can tell is if you actually clicked on the person's name and expanded it so you can see the actual email address. So this is becoming more and more important. I want you guys to be protected. My friend happens to be very wealthy. And he said, hey, look, if I don't get the money back, we'll close 2 or 3 days later. But if this was somebody who, $200,000 was your life savings, and when he told me this, I became physically ill because I've done a lot of mortgages. And this is my first time I actually encountered this. But as I began to talk to title people and escrow officers at title companies, they're saying, yes, we're having this happen all the time, where people get scammed by these fraudulent wiring instructions. And these people are very creative and they're stealing money from people. So I want your money to be protected. I want your life savings to be protected. I want your transaction to be protected. So make sure you're verifying all of your wiring instructions with the title company and make sure you're actually communicating with the title company when you're wiring these funds. Please forward this to somebody that's buying a home. Please share this if you're a realtor. You do not want your client to get scammed. Fortunately, in my friend's situation, he had to hire a wire recovery company. And if there are actually wire recovery companies, that lets you know that there's actually an industry large enough to put a demand out for wire recovery companies. So he was able to get his money returned to him. And fortunately, everything was fine. But it was a humongous lesson learned for all of us. And we don't want you to lose out and you to actually be the one who gets taken advantage of by these wire scammers. God bless you. See you next time on Major Money Matters.